Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo. An expert has expressed optimism about the growth prospect for the Africa economy in 2024. According to a senior economist at Stears, Mrs. Dumebi Oluwole, who was speaking on our flagship program, Business Nigeria, the outlook for the African continent looks bright, having survived the inability or instability witnessed in 2023. She spoke on the background of the 2024 African Economic Outlook report recently released by Stears.
Starters, Africa's growth, we're projecting a growth rate just still alongside what the IMF is projecting and what the African Development Bank is projecting. Okay. So Africa's growth is projected around 3 to 4%. Yep. And this growth rate projection is actually centered around the growth across the continent. So we try not to look at Africa as a country, okay, ensuring that we take into consideration the uniqueness and the various characteristics and also policy interventions in various other economies and how that feeds into Africa's growth. So starting from like 2023, where the global economy did face a turbulent period from global monetary tightening, inflationary pressures, all of this fed into Africa's economies and then fed into the entire outlook for the region. So that's why our outlook for Africa is quite conservative, though still optimistic.
Let's take a look at the global equities trading for today. Asian shares surged earlier in the day, sustained by a rally in global chip makers, while the gain was set to end the week with heavy losses. As investors pared back bets, the Bank of Japan will soon abandon its easy policies. The stock rally is set to spill over to the European market, with Euro Stoxx 50 futures up by 0.4%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 futures climbed another 0.3% after hitting a record high. In Asia, MSCI's Products Index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan rallied 1.0%, but was still down 2.7% for the week as jitters about the global interest rate outlook dominated. Japan's Nikkei rose 1.3% to just a touch below a 34-year top hit. Chinese stocks slip again after bouncing off 5-year lows a day before on signs of state support. Chinese blue chips fell 0.3%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index eased 0.2%. And our scores of heads of state and government, as well as top political leaders, participated in keynote conversations and delivered special addresses at the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum convened in Davos, Switzerland, against a tense geopolitical backdrop. More than 60 heads of state and nearly 300 ministers and other political leaders, public and private sector, as well as leading civil society, met to discuss how to effectively deal with security crises, such as the current situation in the Middle East, while at the same time mitigating the structural forces of fragmentation. Key speakers at the annual event urged countries worldwide to collaborate and rebuild trust amidst an array of global challenges ranging from the climate crisis to polarization within societies. Conflict in multiple regions continue to threaten global peace and stability, while political fragmentation is increasingly taking a toll on other issue areas ranging from the climate crisis to the development of advanced technologies. And now President Joe Biden says his administration plans to improve high-speed internet access in North Carolina. The president said another $82 million in federal COVID relief funds will go toward laying the infrastructure to connect 16,000 more households to high-speed internet. North Carolina has already invested more than $700 million in internet connectivity through the American Rescue Plan Act. President Biden said his administration wants nationwide access to high-speed internet by 2030.
And yet, when I became president, around 24 million Americans didn't have access to affordable high-speed internet. And for millions more, their internet connection was limited, unreliable. That's why, as soon as I came into office, I took action with what we call the American Rescue Plan. And it included more than $25 billion to invest in affordable internet, high-speed internet all across America. A few months later, I signed a piece of legislation which many people didn't think we could get done, the bipartisan infrastructure law. It's a once-in-a-generation investment to rebuild America's infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our